In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the best players to use when pushing for rank. This guide is for all players, whether you're starting a game or seasoned, experienced players. Now, the way I compiled this data is I looked at the top 200 players in North America, and I made a list of all the rare, epic, and legendary players that are being used, and I also looked at the win rate for those players as well. And since we have the player market open, as I discuss the players, you'll get an idea of how much it will cost to rank them up. So the first player, and this is a sleeper to me, is Fred VanVleet. Now, even though only one user is using him in the top 200, he had a 65.8% win rate, which is pretty impressive. And this is a card that you could easily upgrade. You can see he costs $9,300. The next player is the rookie Stephen Curry. A total of 8 players were using him, and the win rate was around 65.45%. Now, Curry's a little bit more expensive than Fred VanVleet. Right now, you can get Curry in the shop for around $97,000. The next rare card is Jordan Poole. 2 players was using him in the top 200. He had a win rate of about 65.40%, and you can pick him up right now for $22,400. Now, of course, you can feel free to use whatever player you want to push for Hall of Fame. I'm just giving you an idea of what are the most commonly used players and what their win rates are. Even though Fred VanVleet might be cheaper than Stephen Curry, it does not necessarily mean he is the better player, right? You got to use some judgment when making your decisions as well. So the next player is Brook Lopez. I've seen him 2 times in the top 200 with an average win rate of 64%. His price right now is $22,600. Next player is rookie Kevin Durant. I saw him a total of 6 times for a win rate of 59.33%. He can be acquired right now for $71,000. And the next rare is Bojan Bogdanovic. I saw him a total of 1 time in the top 200, and it had a win rate of 55%. You can pick him up right now in the player market for $30,000. The top 200 consisted of 20 rare cards being used, which is 10% of the total Hall of Fame rank. All right, so now to jump into the epic, this was what made up most of the player base in the Hall of Fame. We're going to start with the point guards. So we saw a total of 1 LaMelo Ball being used with an average win rate of 71.5%. Big shout out to LaMelo Ball user. That is one of my favorite players right now as well. But LaMelo Ball you can purchase right now for $188,000 in the shop. The second player is De'Aaron Fox. We saw him a total of 5 times in the top 200. He comes in with an average win rate of 61.42%, and you can get him right now for about $154,000. The next player we saw was Tyrese Halliburton. He was used for a total of 3 times in the top 200. He had an average win rate of 55.90%, and he can be acquired right now for $200,000. Last but not least, we did see a Trae Young being used 1 time. He is a fairly harder player to obtain, so I didn't expect to see him a lot. His average win rate was 49.40%, and he could be pre-ordered right now for $780,000. I ain't gonna lie to you, I have a Trae Young sitting in my inventory. $780,000 seems rather enticing to sell. For shooting guards, we saw Paul George being used a total of 33 times out of the top 200. Definitely one of the most popular players I saw. He has an average win rate of 62.52%, which is really good in my opinion. He can be acquired right now for $284,000. Next player I saw was Jrue Holiday. I saw 1 time in the top 200. His win rate was 61.5%. And he could be acquired right now for pre-order for $182,000. Next player is another one that you don't see often, similar to Trae Young. These players are rare and harder to obtain. I saw Klay Thompson for a total of 1 time in the top 200. His win rate was 53.6%. And to acquire Klay Thompson right now, it's pretty hefty, $870,000. Now, as far as the top 200, there was not a single epic small forward in the top 200. I do think that is a position that needs more players. And with time, maybe we'll see more compiled in there. But right now, the 3 epic small forwards in the game are really hard to obtain. Jimmy Butler's pretty rare. DeMar DeRozan is rare as well. You have to pre-order him for $380K. Jimmy is $425, and Brandon Ingram is $385,000. So they're a lot more expensive than rookie LeBron and rookie Kevin Durant. So that could very much so be the reason. For the epic power forwards, we saw Jaren Jackson Jr. a total of 1 time in the top 200. He had an average win rate of 70.30%. He can be acquired right now for pre-order for $460,000. He is trending up. The next player is Pascal Siakam. We saw him a total of 4 times in the top 200 with an average win rate of 58%. He'll be acquired right now for about $164,000. And the next player we've seen a total of 2 times in the top 200, and that is Lauri Markkanen for an average win rate of 57%. he can be acquired right now for $170,000. I didn't see any Wembys yet. He is still new, but I think the next time around when I do this list, he should be definitely on there because I did see a lot of players trying him out for the first time, but also it is harder to obtain Wemby right now as well. So for centers, Rudy Gobert was seen a total of 8 times in the top 200, average win rate of 65.04%. He can be acquired right now for $330,000. Next player is Bam Adebayo, seen a total of 7 times in the top 200 for an average win rate of 63.13%. He can be acquired right now for $226,000. Domantas Sabonis was observed 1 time in the top 200, average win rate of 62.90%. He can be acquired right now for $218,000. And the most popular player for the Epic Centers was Karl Anthony Towns. He was observed a total of 31 times out of the top 200 for an average win rate of 62.88%, which is pretty good. He can be acquired right now for $550,000. So the most popular players for the Epic Rarity are Paul George, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Bam Adebayo, and De'Aaron Fox. And in total, 99 players of the top 200 were using Epic cards. Next up, we got the legendaries. So the only legendary player that was observed in the top 200 was Damian Lillard. He was seen for a total of 16 times for an average win rate of 62.33%. And he could be acquired in the shop for right now for $1,260,000. Now, the main reason why Dame was the only legendary point guard is because Luka is also hard to attain, and Stephen Curry just released in the Prime collection, but he is also harder to obtain as well. For the shooting guards, James Harden was observed a total of 7 times out of the top 200 for a win rate of 63.18%. He can be acquired right now for a hefty price of $5,100,000. The second shooting guard was Devin Booker. We saw him a total of 2 times out of the top 200 for an average win rate of 55.10%. He can be acquired for a lot less, for $1,320,000. So for small forwards, we did see Kawhi Leonard being represented 1 time out of the top 200. Now, this is a rare card. Like, I actually forgot he was a legendary. His average win rate was 64.60%. And in order to get Kawhi Leonard, you got to pre-order him for $3,600,000. The next player is prime LeBron James. We've seen him a total of 6 times in the top 200 for an average win rate of 64.42%. LeBron also has to be pre-ordered for an amount of $6,400,000. LeBron is also a rare card to get. And then the next legendary is Jason Tatum. We saw him a total of 17 times in the top 200, which is pretty good. His average win rate was 62.39%. He had some really good step-ups in the latest patch notes, and that for sure can be seen and observed and how efficient he's been. You can acquire him right now for $1,360,000. He's definitely a lot more affordable option for the small forward position. Now, the next one was quite interesting, because a lot of people have been asking me which of the 2 players are better. I think they're both S+ tier. And if you want to check it out, I did do a power forward tier list. I basically compare Giannis with all the power forwards in the game. Really in depth. If you're into that type of content, definitely check it out. But as far as the power forwards in the Hall of Fame, we saw Anthony Davis a total of 10 times out of the top 200, and his average win rate was 67.52%. And AD has been tearing it up, man. That skyscraper ability he has is incredible. Now, the second player being shown is Giannis. He represented 8 players in the top 200 for an average win rate of 63.74%. Now, AD can be acquired for $5.9 million, while Giannis can be acquired for $3 million. They're both pretty solid, but they are expensive if you want to upgrade them. It's Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. Joel Embiid was seen 12 times out of the top 200 for an average win rate of 66.23%. He could be obtained right now for $1,180,000. Whereas Nikola Jokic was seen a total of 2 times out of the top 200 for an average win rate of 55.10%. Now, with him being in the game changers right now, I do see an opportunity for Nikola Jokic to be represented more in the top 200. We've seen that happen with Anthony Davis, Giannis, and James Harden. If you did want to acquire Nikola Jokic from the player market, he's costing you $2,240,000. So the most popular legendary players right now are Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Giannis. So as far as the players that are being used the most, James Harden made up of 3.5% of the top 200, Bam Adebayo as well, Stephen Curry, Rudy Gobert, and Giannis both made up 4% of the total. Anthony Davis made up 5%. Joel Embiid made up 6%. Damian Lillard made up 8%. Jason Tatum made up 8.5%. Karl Anthony Towns made up 15.5% of the player base. And Paul George was 16.5% of the top 200. And all of these players had win rates that are above 62%. So let me know in the comment section which players you're going to try to main, who you're going to rank up, and who you're going to use to try to push towards Hall of Fame. If you enjoy this type of content, please let me know down below. It took time to make, but I did enjoy compiling this information for y'all. So as always, I appreciate the support. I'll catch everyone in the next one. Stay ballin'.